Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to the channel. It feels like the first time, doesn't it? Hmm. Well, it's been a while. I hope you guys are doing good out there in the universe. In the I've been on Twitter, so if you've been following me on Twitter, I've been hanging out there. Um, but as far as YouTube, if you're YouTube only, I know there are a lot of you. Uh, you probably aren't seeing this video because I'm probably gonna get destroyed by the YouTube algorithm. So if you could like the video, comment your thoughts down below. If anything comes to you while I'm making this video, it'd make a big difference to tell YouTube that I'm alive, because they're probably gonna poop all over me. But it's okay, because yeah, I'm really here for the people who have the notifications on and stuff like that anyway. So that's really what really matters. Also, while you're at it, I will have my Discord link down below. It's completely free. It's a community, okay? It's not an alerts channel or anything like that. That's not what I do. Um, but it's more of an educational community for everybody to hang out, completely free. It's never going to be charged. I'm never going to add any cost to the experience that Discord has right now as it stands. I see a lot of you guys talk about that in the Discord. If there were ever to be a paid thing, it would be in addition to what's already there. But I don't even know if that's gonna happen, to be frank with you. So yeah, let's analyze some things. What do you guys say? What do you say, dude? You want to analyze some things, dude? I think that the market in general is in a really interesting place. So I think it's a good time for me to come back and start making some videos again. And I kind of want to scale up and start doing some more things than what I was doing before. So look forward to that. Make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications. And again, smash the like button and comment down below. Watch the video until the end, because those are the types of things that tells YouTube that you like this content and you want to see more of it in the future. Obviously, click off if you don't like the video, and then that'll tell YouTube that you don't want to see it, and you won't have to see it anymore. But anyway, all right, let's get into it. So we're going to start off like we always do with AMC, and I'm going to be switching this up too, because I want to start looking at the market in a more broad thing, and I also want to start pairing AMC in with other meme stocks, and I'm thinking of a creative way to do that. But covering memes is a part of the broader market, because I do think that there's an interesting correlation usually with memes and the market. And hopefully you didn't hear that. I have the desktop audio off, so I don't think you did hear that. Okay. Hear what? I'm a little nervous, to be honest with you. I just hit record, and I have a few things drawn up, but I'm mostly just freestyling here. But yeah, so I think that memes, it's weird because a lot of times I can kind of tell what's going to happen to the broader market by analyzing memes and vice versa. Because like sometimes the signal on SPY or Bitcoin, for example, is like more clear than the signal on the other tickers, and I can use that as context because the market is so driven by itself now. Because SPY or SPX or the broader market, Nasdaq, everything has been in more of a bearish time lately. The market is all kind of going together for the most part. But there is something to be said about recently how AMC, and I'm not sure about GME. I'm gonna start looking at GME as well. But how AMC has been able to hold up. That's a weird extend line right going on, left going on there. Sorry. Has been able to hold price up, right, relative to the market for the past little while. Like I'm sure that you guys have kind of noticed, especially if you're watching my channel. It's very likely that you've noticed that here you can see. I mean, here May 12th, this uptrend begins for AMC. And this uptrend for SPY has only begun on June 17th. May 12th, SPY was way up here at 385, and as you can see, SPY is testing much lower relative lows than AMC is, especially way up here now that AMC has had these two really big days here back to back. A really big. I mean, it only went. This is I love these comments. It only went from $14 and it went as high as $16. Yeah, I mean, Oh, so only a $2 change in price. That's really big. Yeah, really big, Dave. I mean, it's 16%. I, like 16% is large in 2 days. Okay, like that's a lot. Ask your old 16% inches. So anyway, so yeah, AMC, and I'm sure that GME probably has a pretty relative because they've been pretty close to each other lately. And I'll look at GME, and not in this video because I don't have anything pre-drawn on it, but I'll look at GME in the future and we'll be able to see. And I'm thinking about making a combined chart where I take a bunch of the really relevant meme stocks that were there kind of at the beginning and then macroing them together to get an overall chart that's going to give us a little bit more detail about how maybe the public's perception or maybe even institutional perception of meme stocks is at the moment. But anyway, if you guys are familiar with the channel, you probably have a good idea of how I'm feeling about this chart at the moment. What you have is, well, at least in the shorter term, you can kind of tell what's going on. But what you have here is a pretty clear breakout. And I think that this trend line is pretty interesting because really its origination points are these 2 points here for June 27th and May 27th. 1669 top as well as 1468 top. And you had this breakout, right? And so I think it was yesterday. Well, okay, so I know that back here on July 6th or something, I would have said on Twitter that I was pretty bullish about AMC here because it was riding the bottom of this ascending line of support. And I mean, there's just no reason for AMC not to come up and test here, right? So again, I mean, I know to some of you guys this isn't a big deal or whatever, but I was sitting here going, this is a pretty easy 15%er here, now I didn't know that it was going to happen literally the next day, but what I was saying was I know that the likelihood is that you're going to come up here and test this because it's just unlikely. Generally when you find this sort of support, in a stock that's been beaten up the way that AMC has, it's generally more likely that you're going to see upside in the short term to test highs before you get sent back down. And there are a bunch of reasons for that. One of them being that institutions that are holding this just know that they can generate a rally with some buying pressure. And then if they want to offload, they can just get rid of it up here, right? Where other institutions have stepped in and created resistance. Worst case scenario, right? They know that bearish institutions aren't holding anything down here that they're going to want to get rid of. They're not going to short this trend line of support, generally speaking. And of course they can, but most of the time what's going to happen is they would be waiting for a break down, a retest. They would short here, and then you would see this move down. This is the good short, right? Especially for institutions. It's not going to be when it's above a trend line of support. Now, since then, what has happened? Well, you have broken out of this resistance, and I tweeted probably here, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. Yesterday here. And said, this is a good chart. And basically all it was this line going down here. And what you have yesterday is this retest and this bounce right up. And so, this is a bullish chart. That is bullish, and you're gonna get most likely you're gonna get a press up here to test new highs. And that's just what you did today. Now, what is happening is it looks like a rising wedge that is forming here, which is a bearish reversal pattern. If you're familiar with the channel, you know that. But I don't this isn't like a rising wedge in the sense of, it's all over. Now, it could be, the rally could be over, and it really just depends on what supporting volume comes in, right? If you continue to have this sort of thing, you might end up finding support down here, and then if you fail here, then that's really bearish, right? And you're going to get sent down really ugly. But I don't think that that's the most likely scenario at this stage. And what I'll tell you is, from a short-term basis, here I wouldn't be entering longs necessarily if I was just looking at this chart objectively, and it wasn't AMC, whatever. If this was just like some random whatever, like Build-A-Bear stock, okay. I wouldn't be trying to go long up here, but I will say that what I'd be looking for is generally in a re-entry opportunity on the long side. I see that the volume is pretty bullish here. You have a lot more supporting volume than you do in rejection. I think that what is happening here is you just need a little bit of a cooling effort, right? And that's fine. Most of the time when you see a big move like this, and again, I know some of you don't think this is a big move. You guys you guys are just packing heat. I understand, and you're just not impressed. I get it. Love me. What I'd be looking for is some sort of re-entry. And probably what that re-entry looks like is somewhere where I can find a trend line that correlates with a Fibonacci, and normally that correlates with a relevant level of support, right? And so the way that I feel about this chart right now is that most likely what's going to occur is you're going to get rejected here over the course of the next few days. And what may occur is you might find support at this 1460 level, or maybe this 1414. And you can see that these, 1475 obviously was a key area of resistance before that we broke. So you could come back and just retest that 1475 and keep going off to the races. But what I think is more likely is that you come down here to 14, maybe even as low as the golden pocket down here, and as low as to this 1333. The 707 has been really key market wide. If you don't have 707 on your Fibonacci, I really recommend that you look at you look at adding that, and you just pay attention to that, because I've noticed that it's been getting hit a lot on a lot of different charts, Bitcoin, SPY, etc. But anyway, what you'll develop is basically a new trend of support that's a little bit more relevant, and it can look like a lot of things, right? Maybe it's this sort of trend line that you'll see. Let me change this color so it's a little bit easier to see. And what it'll look like is kind of like a distribution-y, kind of come up, back up, retest, this sort of stuff. It's going to be pretty boring, boom, until finally maybe you break just below that 0.5, and then you can start to see new highs occur. Because by this time, this trend line is going to be way out here, right? And yeah, this looks like a broadening wedge, perhaps, whatever. But this is how these sorts of moves happen. And when you start to get this wedging sort of effect rather than these more vertical presses upward, and you continue to make new highs that are more and more impressive, see how the degree, right? You're just not gaining more and more impressive higher highs that are so distinctive in that fashion. Where here, for example, back here, the reason that you got so parabolic, this is actually two good examples right here, right? You pressed for higher highs, but they were just right. I mean, what's the difference in these gains? When you got rejected, you pressed right up, boom, and then you just blitzed right through, boom. This is that parabolic sort of structure that you're looking for. When you get those really explosive moves up, that's how they normally occur. Rather than when you see prices just kind of, you can just see bulls getting weaker and weaker here, right? And bears getting stronger and stronger, which is fine. It's just a short-term thing. So, well, it's not fine. I mean, I don't know, like, what am I'm doing a day-by-day analysis on the stock or whatever. I'm just saying, like, for like, if I'm a long-term investor, I'm not really worried about this. I'm just kind of like, okay, yeah, it's a short-term kind of thing. But I do think overall this looks pretty accumulative in nature. Let me get rid of all these little circles that I drew here. It's terrible. It looks accumulative in nature, and I think overall this entire structure looks pretty accumulative in my opinion. I can't quite draw like a falling wedge. You guys know I love falling wedges. All right, but you can see that it kind of has this kind of, it just has this nice, bottoming, sort of rounding out sort of feel. Rather than up here, you more had this kind of rounding above, and kind of where price was staying much higher relative to lower, which was indicative that maybe it was an accumulation and was more like a distribution thing from an institutional stance. You were wrong, Dave. Yeah, it happens. It's weird. I've talked about it on the channel, but it's weird being a creator and talking about something that people are so emotional and passionate about, and because I was mostly bearish, back here. I was mostly bearish on a day-to-day basis, but I was overall bullish. And perhaps, and I've talked about it on the channel, so I don't really have to dig too deeply into it, but like perhaps my vision was blinded by kind of rooting for the movement and retail and stuff like that. Even though for the most part I think that I avoided that, I think that it might have crept in a little bit, over the period of that time when I was analyzing the stock a lot more. But yeah, so I'm just poking around here. We're gonna look at the broader market now. About 15 minutes in, we got a good bit of time. We're doing all right. Hopefully you're enjoying the ride. If you haven't already, make sure you smash a like on the video. Leave a comment down below. I appreciate you sticking around this long. This is SPY. And actually, I'm gonna analyze the SPX chart more often than I am with SPY, but we can do SPY because it's mostly the same chart. I know that CPI comes out tomorrow. My birthday is in 2 days. I'm going to turn 30. I'm no longer going to be in my 20s, which is interesting. So I definitely need to live it up. I finished my 20s strong. So that's why I'm here talking to you guys, I suppose. But yeah, so anyway, with SPY, I think that SPY's in a pretty interesting place going into numbers tomorrow, because obviously, I saw some people on Twitter saying, oh, they're going to raise interest rates. And then some people on Twitter saying there's a hint that somebody got a hunch that they're actually not going to raise or they're going to lower or something. I saw some sort of tweet like that. But I looking at this chart, and I think that charts, oddly enough, I think that charts are a good way to kind of tell what is actually going to end up happening in these more fundamental events and beforehand, for whatever reason. Call it composite man, call it what you will. But I don't feel particularly bearish about SPY. I think that SPY, for the most part, is in a place where I kind of think it's more likely to have some sort of press upward in the short term than it is to have a press downward. Now, what does that mean exactly? Tomorrow the numbers could come out and they could say, hey, we're raising interest rates again, we're going up, and you could get sold out here. But this is the main thing on this chart that you really need to be watching. Are these two lines. These are the two lines that I'm watching all day, every day when it comes to SPY. This is the context that I trade the market with. This support line down here in green, let me make it a little bit more bold. And this resistance line up here in red. And the red line hasn't been as relevant because obviously it's been more of a bearish trend. But you can see here that this green line, every time that you see any interaction with it, SPY is finding support on this, right? And you had this one break down here for a couple days. Let's see, we can go to the daily chart and see just how long that was. So you probably spent 3, maybe 4 days where you closed below it in total, and you had this big reaction right off of it. Now, I will say that this does look like perhaps if you get rejected down here, let me try and see where this trend would be. Yeah, it's not very clean ever here. If you do get rejected down here, no, I still think you get support down here. So, I just, retail, a lot of YouTubers, a lot of people on Twitter that I see, Every time that you come down here, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, here we go. It's gonna be the 30%, big sell-off that everybody wants, right? My puts are gonna print, dude." But you gotta realize that. I mean, retail, right? Twitter, your average day-to-day trader, everything like that. Like that is who is talking. Like and I'm not trying to like poop on retail or anything, but what I will say is that institutions pay attention to that. And they know the environment that they're creating. I mean, they're not dumb. So I just don't think that I don't think that scenario is going to happen when retail is just like celebrating and expecting it. I think that the way that would happen is when it's quite the opposite, right? Perhaps you have a rally out of here, and retail's really feeling it. They're going, "Oh man, look, we broke this resistance line," and then something really bad happens. Boom, and then that is how that sort of big sell off occurs. That is how I would expect that sort of thing. And I mean, your most recent example of this is the COVID crash, right? Look, everyone, like, no one was expecting this. Okay, this is bullish. Like, price is pressing up hard, right? You're at the top. You're at the top of your channel. Everybody's excited. The economy is doing well. Everybody's pumped up, right? And then lockdowns, right? Retail is not shorting up here, guys. That is not what was happening. Retail is not loading up on puts up here. They're not. Not in general. Now, of course, there are some. But in general, retail was buying calls, getting eaten up, getting overly bullish, right? We're getting new highs. We're creating new highs here, and right, boom. And look, this is the environment. Institutions knew that this was going to happen months in advance, and then they created this selling opportunity for themselves, got up here, distributed their shares, and then they shorted. That's what they did. And then they bought this bottom here and caused this crazy ass rally that led to where we are now. So I just think it's unlikely that you see that big explosion down when you're already down here. Boring. There's not a lot of money to be made for institutions when they're shorting something from down here. I mean, sure, it could happen, but it's just not the way that they make money. They make money on volatility and creating the craziest possible short opportunity, right? They do it by shorting from the top. That's what they do. So anyway, yeah. That's pretty much it for the broader market. Bitcoin, I think, is in a generally interesting place, and so I would say crypto in general. And what I mean by that is I don't think that you're going to new all-time highs or anything like that. I don't think that is happening. I don't think that's happening this year. I don't think I would have to really think about whether I think it's like the next year, but I think that the next move for Bitcoin in the short term is a long opportunity back up here to this 30,000-ish liquidity range, just because there's really no like validation of selling or buying between 28K and where Bitcoin is now, 19.5. And what I think that's going to create is a bear trap sort of scenario. So where basically what ends up happening is perhaps you sell off one last time and then boom, you come up here. And then maybe even you do a bull trap up here and then you create new lows. That's how I would see new lows happening with Bitcoin. I don't think that Bitcoin is going to sell back down below the 17.5K and then go create new lows. But I do think in the long term, the most likely scenario for Bitcoin, and not like giving timelines or anything like that, but I do think that kind of what you're going to expect to see here with Bitcoin and crypto in general is I do think that you still do need to do some consolidation here. So perhaps you consolidate in the 20s some more. And then I think that the long term is some consolidation in the teens, honestly, before you see ultimate reversal. If there is going to be new all time highs, et cetera, et cetera, I think that that would have to be the case, just because I just don't think that there's a lot of proof, and it's the same kind of concept where once you get down to these prices, you're almost institutions are going to step in and say, hey, now you got to prove Bitcoin's got to prove itself between 12 and 18K ish, whatever. And we'll do more in depth analysis on that. I know that the video is probably running a little long now, 25 minutes. So yeah, that's pretty much the video. Again, for you guys who stuck around, I know that you guys are the biggest supporters of the channel. I really am proud to have people that are willing to stick around and watch a video to the end like this. I know that what I do isn't conventionally cool or interesting or anything like that. So if you're interested in this sort of thing, then I really think it is powerful, though. And I think that, being interested in something like technical analysis is a very powerful tool that a lot of people don't value in society, but I think that it can pay big dividends. So I appreciate your support. Thank you for watching until the end. And with that being said, the channel, I think, what do I want to do? Obviously, me going away and not making videos for a couple months means that whatever I was doing, and a lot of things can be playing a role in this, but it wasn't making me happy enough to keep doing it, obviously, right? Because if it was, then I would have kept doing it, wouldn't I have? So I say that to say, I just think that I was spending too much time on social media. I got a little addicted. It's something that I do where, like, I kind of get this snowball effect. This thing starts happening, and then I'm like, oh, I'm all in, and I really take myself away from other things that are really important. I talked about this on the channel before, but I just really need to find a balance and find a way to make it more worth it to me, make it more worth it to my family, and also I don't want to talk about meme stocks, all day every day. AMC made you, bro. Like, I know that comments in the comment section, when I say that, but like, I'm a person, so like my life doesn't revolve around AMC stock. But I do want to educate. I really enjoy making these videos, and I really enjoy educating people. I just think that I have to find a way to do it that is more effective and also keeps me more engaged and more interested. So I'm not so focused on one stock. Rather, I can talk about the broader market. I can talk about technical analysis in general, and even not just technical analysis. Get my take on on the market, like from a fundamental standpoint, because I do have a lot of opinions about fundamentals. And I think that combining fundamentals with technicals is a very interesting thing. I believe that fundamentals are typically the thing that institutions, like, what you know about fundamentals is what institutions want you to know. And then technicals are kind of the underlying language that they speak in order to take advantage of those fundamental narratives that we find out about through media or whatever it may be, right? Typically, retail doesn't really have the inside scoop, put it that way. So I really want to talk about that and find a way to deliver that to you guys, and really make social media a bigger part of my income, so that then I can devote more of myself to educating rather than other things like trading myself or business or anything like that. I can make this a business, and then therefore I can make it more of a full-time thing that I'm doing, just because, honestly, the incentive just wasn't there for me. That plays a big role in it, and so when you, as a human that is living in a capitalist society that has to earn in order to eat and feed his family, isn't receiving incentive based on what he does on a daily basis, eventually he will stop doing said thing. So, and that's not to say that I don't appreciate you guys, but I'm sure that you can understand that, it did start to feel like a job, and I was kind of like, I'm not making that much money off this. Like, what the fuck am I doing? And So that sort of thing happened. But I do miss talking to you guys and miss seeing what you guys think about my analysis and stuff like that. So, like I said, I've been thinking about it, and I'm still thinking about it, and there are things to come, and uh, to find a way to do this in a way that's going to be optimized for everybody. That is what's coming down the pipeline. And again, I don't know exactly what that looks like yet, but it's something that I'm thinking about. So if you have any thoughts about that, make sure you share those down below as well. Other than, you're a shill. Looks like Bitcoin is making a press downward here, guys. Is it? Those are my thoughts. You're a shill. You're trying to make money. You're trying to make money doing something, huh? No. You gotta do it for free. That's how it works. You only do it for free. There's no such. You can't make money, dude. You know what my favorite one is. If you're such a good trader, then why do you have to make money teaching people? Or the alerts. Oh God. People have alert channels and people get mad because they do alerts, and then they ask for payment for those alerts or whatever, and then people on their own choose to pay those people for alerts. It's like it's like the Marxism intensifies meme, it's like, holy shit, bro, like so you want them to just do that for free then? I don't understand how does it even, what? Why would they do it for free? Like Bill Gates probably wrote a book about how he got rich and then sold the book so that he could make money. Like he was one of the richest people in the world. But he still wants to make more money. That's how it's passive income. It's a revenue stream. Anyway, yeah, look, I mean, Bitcoin's sitting here in its golden pocket right here. I mean, I don't know, man. I think that my gut tells me, look, you see bears have control of volume down here. My gut tells me that you go down to 19 here at your 707. I don't know, man. This thing's it's not looking how I thought it would look whenever it got to this point. If you were following me on Twitter, you saw me talking about how I could see 20.5 being the bottom, and then you have your extension up to 28. But yeah, I think volume, man. I'm going to be paying attention to Bitcoin's volume and seeing who's in control of it over the course of the next few days. But right now, it really looks like bears are still in control on Bitcoin. So maybe I'm wrong. And you can see that next press for lower lows. I don't know. I'm gonna be interested to see how it reacts at 18.6 and 19. I'm still net long for sure. I haven't shifted to being short. I mean, I will short it when the time comes, but I just think that the likelihood is in favor of bulls in the short term rather than bears. Oh my goodness, this looks like a night show. All right. I have been babbling for too long. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. It's good to be back, and until next time, peace. Oh, dude, I'm pretty sure that I haven't made a video. Let me go look at my channel right quick. I haven't made a video since the new Kendrick came out. And if you follow me on Twitter, I don't know how much I've ever talked about Kendrick on YouTube. Let me go see when my last technical video was. My last video in general was May 17th. Oh yeah, so it's been over a month. Well, I think Kendrick did drop before this. Definitely. Oh my goodness, it's been a long time since I've made a technical video. 3 months? I'm a POS, dude. 3 months, April 10th. Wow. I'm a POS, dude. The last time was whenever we were coming off the $34 rally. Oh my goodness. Good times, dude. Man, 3 months. Life flies by, dude. You got 2 toddlers, you know what I'm saying? Let's talk about we'll talk about it some other time, but I was gonna sing a song, but I don't know what song to sing. At the night show. At the night show. Alright. TCYL. It looks like a Fibonacci, the spiral thing.